Right. Buckle up, buttercups, because we've just witnessed what might be the most spectacular political faceplant since Liz Truss discovered what happens when you play Jenga with the economy. Justice Minister Alex Davies-Jones has just been caught red-handed doing what politicians do best, turning numbers into Play-Doh and hoping nobody notices the mess. And trust me, this mess is magnificent. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, probably watching TikToks of cats being dramatic, when suddenly BAM. Breaking news hits harder than your mate Dave after a night out in Wetherspoons. The Chagos Islands deal, you know, that little arrangement that's supposed to cost us a mere £3.4 billion, has just been exposed as potentially costing British taxpayers an eye-watering £35 billion. That's not a typo. That's not your eyes playing tricks on you after too much screen time. That's the actual number hiding behind the government's creative accounting. Now, before we dive deeper into this political soap opera, let me paint you a picture of what £35 billion actually looks like. That's enough money to buy roughly 233 Premier League football clubs, or if you're feeling fancy, about 17.5 aircraft carriers. It's the kind of money that makes winning the lottery look like finding a fiver down the back of your sofa. And our government? Well, they've been treating it like pocket change for a school trip to Blackpool. But here's where it gets absolutely bonkers, and I mean properly, certifiably mad. Alex Davies-Jones, bless her cotton socks, went on GB News with the confidence of someone who definitely didn't leave their homework until the last minute, only to serve us a helping of numbers so cooked they make Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington look raw. She stood there, bold as brass, insisting that the government does not recognize that figure at all. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone says they don't recognize a £35 billion bill, it's either because they've got selective amnesia or they are playing a very expensive game of hide-and-seek with the truth. Spoiler alert, it's not amnesia. Davies-Jones doubled down harder than a casino regular on their last tenner, claiming the real cost is just £3.4 billion spread over 99 years. That's about £100 million annually, she says. She even had the audacity to compare it to less than 0.2% of Britain's defence budget, making it sound about as threatening as an angry hamster in a cardboard tube. It's less than the price of an aircraft carrier, she proclaimed, as if that somehow makes spending billions on a tiny island in the middle of nowhere sound like a Tesco meal deal. But wait, it gets juicier than a Love Island finale. The Conservatives, playing the role of that friend who always has a receipt, whipped out some freedom of information documents that absolutely demolished Davies-Jones' narrative faster than you can say political career suicide. These documents revealed that the government actuaries department, you know, the people whose literal job it is to count money, initially calculated this deal would cost £34.7 billion in nominal terms. That's essentially saying if we paid this in today's money, it would cost £34.7 billion. But here's where the government got creative with their maths in a way that would make even the most optimistic accountant blush. First, they applied a cheeky little 2.3% annual inflation rate across the entire 99-year period. Because apparently, someone in Whitehall thought, you know what? Let's just assume inflation will behave like a well-trained golden retriever for the next century. This mathematical magic trick brought the figure down to a still eye-watering £10 billion. But they weren't done yet. Oh no, they were just getting warmed up. Then came the pièce de résistance, the Treasury's social time preference rate. Now, this sounds fancy, doesn't it? It's basically the government's way of saying, money now is worth more than money later, so let's just pretend future expenses are monopoly money. They applied a discount rate of 2.5% to 3.5% annually, which is like saying that paying your rent in 50 years' time should cost the same as a packet of crisps today. Brilliant logic, absolutely brilliant. Shadow Foreign Secretary Dame Priti Patel came out swinging like she'd just discovered someone had been using her Netflix password without permission. She accused Labour of employing an accountancy trick to hide the true cost from taxpayers. And honestly, she's not wrong. This isn't creative accounting. This is accounting so creative it should win a BAFTA for Best Fantasy Drama. Patel didn't hold back, stating, "We've all known it's a terrible deal with huge costs to hard-pressed British taxpayers. But for months, ministers in public and parliament have sought to cover up the true amounts. It's like watching someone try to hide an elephant behind a lamppost and then acting shocked when people notice the trunk sticking out. The audacity of this whole situation is genuinely breathtaking." We're talking about a government that's been standing at the dispatch box, looking voters straight in the eye, and serving up numbers that have been through more processing than a chicken nugget. They've taken a £35 billion price tag and massaged it down to £3.4 billion using mathematical gymnastics that would make an Olympic athlete jealous. But hold on to your hats, because Davies-Jones wasn't finished with a GB News performance. Oh no, she decided to pivot faster than a politician during election season and announced plans for a massive expansion of the government's foreign criminal deportation program. Because nothing says look over there like suddenly talking about deporting people when you've just been caught fibbing about billions of pounds. The scheme, she proudly announced, will increase from 8 to 23 countries where convicted foreign nationals can be removed. We're trebling it, she declared with the enthusiasm of someone announcing a half-price sale at their favorite shop. These foreign criminals will now have to pursue their appeals from their home countries rather than staying in Britain, which sounds reasonable until you remember we're still talking about that tiny detail of a £31.6 billion accounting error. Davies-Jones explained the new system with the passion of someone who's definitely trying to change the subject. Being here in the United Kingdom is a privilege, not a right. She outlined how foreign criminals will face immediate deportation upon sentencing, eliminating the current requirement for them to serve half their sentences in British prisons before removal. Under the previous system, she explained, these criminals would serve 50% of their sentence in UK prisons, costing taxpayers £54,000 per year for bed and board. She called this arrangement outrageous and argued that immediate deportation would save money. The irony here is absolutely delicious. She's worried about saving £54,000 per criminal per year while her government has just been caught potentially underestimating a deal by over £30 billion. It's like someone complaining about the cost of a packet of biscuits while simultaneously setting fire to a pile of £50 notes. The mathematical disconnect is so profound it's almost artistic. We're talking about a minister who's concerned about prison costs for individual criminals while her department has apparently lost track of enough money to fund the NHS for several months. The new deportation measures form part of broader government efforts to reform how Britain handles foreign nationals who commit crimes. But let's be honest here. When you've just been caught playing fast and loose with billions of taxpayer pounds, announcing that you're getting tough on foreign criminals feels like the political equivalent of buying your partner flowers after they've caught you eating their leftover pizza. What makes this whole situation even more deliciously absurd is the timing. We're living through a cost-of-living crisis where people are choosing between heating and eating, where families are struggling to afford basic necessities, and where every penny counts. And here we have a government that's been playing a counting twister with figures that could fund entire government departments. The Chagos Islands deal was supposed to be about maintaining Britain's strategic military presence and protecting national security. Instead, it's become a masterclass in how to turn a straightforward financial arrangement into a political disaster of epic proportions. It's like ordering a simple cheese sandwich and somehow ending up with a 5-course meal that costs more than your mortgage. Dame Priti Patel's accusation of using accountancy tricks hits the nail squarely on the head. This isn't just creative accounting. It's accounting so creative it should be entered into the Toner Prize. We're talking about mathematical manipulation that would make even the most flexible yoga instructor impressed with its contortions. The government's defense essentially boils down to, well, if you spread the cost over 99 years and pretend that money in the future is worth less than money today, and if you assume inflation behaves exactly as we predict for the next century, then technically, sort of, maybe, it's only £3.4 billion. It's the kind of logic that would get you laughed out of any reasonable conversation about money. What's particularly galling is the sheer brazenness of it all. Davies-Jones didn't just quietly hope nobody would notice. She went on national television and defended these figures with the conviction of someone who absolutely believes their own story. It takes a special kind of political courage to look down the barrel of a TV camera and stand by numbers that have been through more manipulation than a reality TV show. The broader implications here are staggering. If the government can be this casual with accuracy when it comes to billions of pounds, what else might they be getting creatively mathematical about? It raises questions about trust, transparency, and whether we can believe anything that comes out of Westminster when it involves large numbers and long time frames. This whole debacle perfectly encapsulates everything that's wrong with modern political discourse. We have ministers who are more concerned with spin than substance, more interested in massaging figures and being honest with taxpayers, and more focus on winning today's news cycle than building long-term trust with the public. So there you have it. Folks, the spectacular story of how Alex Davies-Jones managed to turn a simple question about costs into a masterclass in creative accounting, all while Keir Starmer presumably sat somewhere wondering how his Justice Minister had managed to turn a routine interview into a political hand grenade. The moral of this story? When politicians start talking about discount rates and inflation adjustments over 99-year periods, maybe it's time to ask for the receipt. And when they compare multi-billion-pound commitments to the price of aircraft carriers as if that makes them sound reasonable, perhaps it's time to remember that we're the ones paying the bill. Thanks for watching UK Pancakes, where we serve a political drama hotter than your morning brew and twice as bitter. Don't forget to smash that like button harder than this government just smashed their credibility, and subscribe for more political chaos because let's be honest, there's always more where this came from.